collecting money to teach one child or one adult to read when the whole world needs your work. Teach people how you do it. So the school never got a bursary trust at all, and in fact I sold the school, I couldn't cope with both. So it turned into something totally different, where we teach people who are literate how to teach children and adults to teach reading. And a relation who was in Krugersdorp prison suggested to the education officer that we come and run a course there. And we were in the middle of it when Boxburg prison phoned us and said, there's such an improvement in behaviour, won't you come and teach there? And so we've now worked in 23 prisons, teaching literate prisoners how to teach illiterate prisoners. The department says that we rehabilitate both, and perhaps one or couple of you would like to undertake the research, but you need money to follow through on the people who we've trained and who they trained to see. It would be a very exciting project and a thesis for a doctorate or a master's. We never ask why you're in prison, because in his essay on love, that great mystic Rabbi Cook said, it is in order to hate the evil, but you must love the divinity that is in every human being. And if we knew what people had done, it would change our perception of seeing them as God's children, who either forgot or never knew that they are God's children. So within a couple of days, their faces change, their expressions change, and it becomes an absolute joy. So you speak of women. One of our prize Readucate because after 8 days, people are called a Readucate instructor, and after they've taught our whole course to children or adults, we call them Readucators, and they can train others to be Readucate instructors. So I can mention her name because she's spoken with me in public lectures, Suzanne. And Suzanne was four subjects short of matric when she did our course. She was in for life, and I don't know why. I still don't know why. And but she went mad about teaching to the point where she would drag her blackboard down to the cell to go on teaching at night. And she eventually not only got a matric, but she applied all our study skills to an aided diploma here at Unisa. And I went to a Unisa graduation at Lilla prison, where she was awarded a special prize for being the top graduate out of 250 offenders. She went on to do her BA, again with distinctions, her honours. She's in the middle of her master's and wants to do her doctorate. We're very grateful that we got her paroled. And she's now teaching at a high school and doing fantastic work, and we're very, very proud of her. So when I think of the women, when I see the women, it always makes me cry, because I think they should be at home with their children. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that rehabilitation is possible. We actually work on prevention by teaching teachers. Many teachers don't know how to teach reading. Many teachers don't know how to handle their classes. And I'm actually very keen on doing lectures on how to make every lesson, regardless of subject matter, at primary, high school and university, a reading lesson, because all the principles of reading can be integrated into every lesson. And attitude is the most important. You spoke of having motivational books. We've had John Kehoe, the 9-pound author and lecturer, come in and lecture to our prisoners. We use his book, Mind Power for Children, a guide for parents and teachers, as a compulsory textbook, because attitude is everything. If you've got a teacher in the class and she looks at the kids and says, oh God, just let this day be over, look at these brats, is she going to teach successfully? Or if she looks at them and she thinks, oh, yeah, people, I've got their future in my hands. They're all God's children. I can help them develop their potential. Is she going to succeed? Of course. So I am very keen. Attitude governs everything. The attitude of the teacher, the attitude of the student, the attitude of parents, the caregivers. Attitude makes or breaks everything. So we have trained hundreds of prisoners, of offenders. I must say that I think that another area that needs a lot of work is helping offenders adjust to ordinary life again. I often think that the worst day of their lives, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the day that you're released. Because the world has changed, people have changed, the offender has changed, and I remember one offender saying he couldn't do anything with his kids. They said, you weren't here, you never cared, I'll do as I like. Don't tell me what to do, you didn't know what to do. And the small things that are big. So we need to help offenders adjust, and not only offenders, but families and communities. I'm not here to talk forever, so thank you very much.
I can relate with most of what Edna has just said, and I'll just make it a few points. During my 10 years of incarceration, what happened was that I also enrolled for an adult diploma, and I went for the first graduation. When I went for my certificate, and I also went back again when I was graduating for my diploma. And one observation that I made that was common between the two graduations was that the number of female graduates relative to the number of male graduates was, you could tell that there was a difference. Granted, there are more male offenders in prisons relative to female offenders. But then I also think that is it because female offenders are not given that much of opportunity to study in prison? That is one question that we also need to address, because although they are female prisons, they are females as much as they are males. So I would like to also say that I concur with what and then coming back to what Saxon mentioned, he mentioned something when I had a meeting with him. He mentioned something about changing of attitudes. He identified attitude as one of the most important things that we have to look into. If rehabilitation has to occur, then we also need to focus precisely on the attitudes. So, in actually coming back to what Edna has said, I have a project that I started. I've consulted the various departments, and this project is aimed at coordinating some of the various departments within Unisa with a view to assist primarily the development of offenders tertiary education. But at the same time, what we're trying to achieve is just to have a culture or create a culture of learning inside prisons. And because this emanates from the fact that one of the commonly held stereotypes is that one cannot study while one is in prison. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a myth. You can't study while you are in prison. So in developing some of the offenders tertiary education, what happens is that the objective of the whole program is to hold workshops in prisons whereby, for instance, we are going to identify one prison and harmonize the services of the Department of Registration in terms of helping disseminate information relating to registration issues. the Directorate for Career Counseling and Academic Development to provide counseling to offenders, and lastly the Directorate for Student Funding to help impart information on the availability of the bursaries. Because, like I've said before, it is a stereotype that you cannot study in prison. Just as Edna has put it, if we put our thoughts into it, if we put our minds into it, we can make this possible. And one of the ways was to, as I spoke with Carien, that perhaps maybe we could start a project whereby we create some kind of mobile libraries, collect books with the view to donate those books in prisons so that offenders keep on reading, even if it's not an academic content, but just to keep their minds reading. Would you like to add something?
Is there any motivation starts? So
Please, we are only going to criticism.
Right, yeah. Good morning, I'm Lilla from Walt. I am an Educate Trust at Medium B Prison in Warburton. And I would just like to add to you cannot study in prison. That is a big myth. They've got all the time, everything that they need. They have no responsibilities. So it means they can either go out and tutor, be part of our curriculum, and then they teach other people while they are studying, meaning they're busy from 8 to 12 in our prison. And then after that they have ample time until 10 o'clock tonight when it's night off. Especially if they stay in a single cell, there are no TVs that are disturbing them, nothing. Currently, the policy, there's a big debate with the Waterkloof 2 around the computers and the whatever, but they do have access to their own personal laptops. Some of them do have the laptops with them in the cells if they have single cells, but no modems, etc. allowed, obviously. So they are typing their assignments nowadays. If you don't study in prison, you've got 15 years. Do you think you're going to study outside, where suddenly you have responsibilities and all those problems with adapting to the outside world? So the ideal time to study is when you are in prison. And bursaries with NEFSAS has never been a problem. Currently, I have 36 Unisa students at Medium B Prison.